Ho ho bodies, welcome to Borderline Games. Today we're playing Raging Loop. This is episode 4. So last time we found that our bike was banged up from the crash. We had to go to this mansion to get some parts to fix it. And I think we're at the point where we are ready to go. Or we'd kind of finished our bike and then something's going to happen to obviously stop us leaving the village. Let's carry on. So I guess I had no chance with her, huh? You've been at this for hours. How are you holding up? Need a break? I guess we haven't fully finished fixing the bike. Well, it'd be better if a certain someone didn't take away my lunch break. Oh yeah, and also Chiemi's withholding drink and food, and I guess there's a theory that she's like protecting him for some reason, like it's either poisonous or, knock him out or something. Hey, I gave you some crackers, didn't I? Like that was enough to state a guy in his mid-20s. Still, I'm pretty fine. I'll push forward a bit more. You can go if you want. I've been introduced to just about everyone here. There's 2 people you haven't met yet. Really? Well, there was no real need to, right? I'll stay around a bit longer. I came back here because I was bored, and it's not like I'm busy. Couldn't you play around with your 52 guy friends? I take it back. I came back because I wanted to be bored. Living in the city is so annoying and tiring, especially with 52 guys texting you all the time. Oh? Sorry. I lied about the 52 guys. Why? Because I wanted to keep you in check, I guess. Why would she pull a tactic like that, only to reveal her hand? Hey, did you really get dumped by your girlfriend? And now she asked me that. I did. Honest. I see. Well, after that relentless assault, it wouldn't be fair unless I played my own card. Wanna come with? Huh? It's a 2-seater. Yeah. There's even an extra helmet. It's not dry yet, though. I'm obviously leaving soon, so unless you have something planned, you can join me. We can even go on a bike tour. If we have enough time, I can take you anywhere. Flexible, open to fine-tuning, wild and charming. This was a good date invitation if I said so myself. That sounds great. And I have no plans. Oh. I'll go get my stuff then. Chiemi smiled and turned around to head to her place. She then looked back at me and... You should hurry before I change my mind. Yeah, sure. Well, that made me motivated. This was one tiring trip, but at least I met someone good along the way. I'd just forget everything I didn't want to remember while on the road, with her. I could only hope that clever girl and I would eventually grow closer. With that ulterior motive in mind, I resumed rebuilding the bike. After several failed attempts, I was finally making some good progress putting the bike back together. Afternoon had passed and it was almost evening. At the rate I was going, I'd definitely be working while it was dark. Would that even be possible? It might be way past midnight by the time I was done. Chiemi might dump me for that. Man, life sure was hard. The plaza I'd worked in was now totally empty. There was no one around me. All I could hear was the wind, the frogs, and the tools in my hands. It was desolate to say the least. I suddenly felt really weak. It made me keenly aware of being in a place I didn't belong, and that I was preparing to escape. It was an oppressive atmosphere, like the bars of a cage were slowly swinging shut. What's this, Hauraki? Think you're going to get attacked or something? I tried to laugh it off, but it didn't work. As I became more conscious of my surroundings, I began to hear things I hadn't noticed before. I heard a voice. Someone was singing. It was an inarticulate little girl's voice. I stopped my work, Before I knew it, I'd put my tools down and gone looking for the source. Was I that starved for human presence? Or did that malaise make me feel like I was in danger? I walked down the hill to where the song came from. Passing the tall grass, I arrived. Okay. Guardians are... It was a strange sight. The field was covered in tall grass. There were countless rocks peeking out of it. Unlike the boulders all over Yasumisu, these were only up to my waist. They looked like... gravestones? Like gravestones. 6. The bad jar hums along grate with an array of bricks. The field extended into the dusky western sky before ending at a cliff. This was the lowest spot in Yasumisu, the border of Saranaga. There was a large pine right at the edge. 8. The donut bologna rice snows on the mountain. The evening sun, the stones, and the pine's shadow gave the field a strange aura. A little girl was running through it. Her steps were awkward. At this moment, this space was alien. I felt like I was looking at a Giorgio de Chirico painting. I don't know who that is. The place felt like it didn't belong in this world. Suddenly, I came to understand that this place was special. It was sacred, a sacred mystical ground where no outsiders were welcome. The girl fell. Are you okay? I run to, with no hesitation, the little girl. What? Okay. Bah! Help up. Half-crying little girl, muddy clothes. New greys on band-aid. What is this? What is this? What's going on here? Help up, down. Half-crying little girl left. Muddy clothes. New greys on the band-aid covered kneecap. I console little girl. Push away, run. Someone appears. Girl saw once me. Prepare for the feast when the evening mists arrive. Girl weave incomprehensible phrase. Up, hide behind little girl, fear and hostility. Eyes. Run. Girl hug little girl, warn. Me? You probably won't make it. But run. Me, girl behind. Me, girl behind, mist. Mist. Me, girl behind, mist. 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 Me, girl behind, mist. Mist. Me. Turn around. Run. Where? In a daze, I came back to the plaza. Suddenly, Chiemi shook me, bringing me back to my senses. Where were you? Sorry, I'll finish the job now. It's too late, you idiot. You won't make it in time. You've got to hide. I couldn't understand what she was getting at. What are you doing? Go to your room right now. But Hauraki-san's... Forget the outsider. Old man Kanto and I'll check the other places. Stop wasting time and go back to yours. I couldn't understand. What were these two doing? What scared them so much? It didn't take long for me to find out. I looked down the hill from Saranaga beyond the field that I'd just been in. There came a rising haze. It was so dense you could easily call it mist. It moved strangely like a living creature as it flowed into the plaza. Hauraki-san! Over here! Chiemi pulled me by the hand. What's going on? Ugh, my head feels like it weighs a ton. Deal with it! You've got to find a place you can lock the doors. You'll die if you don't. What do you mean? Tell me. Please, don't ask questions and just do as I say. Just this once. Albeit Hesitantly, I did as she said. We ran up the hill and crossed a rice field path until we made it to a simple outhouse. This should be fine. Seriously, what's going on? And sure, that was a hell of a mist, but this won't protect me, right? Listen, there's no time to explain, so please just do what I say and only that. Get in there. Lock yourself in. Stay inside the whole night and don't make a sound. My mind was pretty clear by this point, so much so that I began to wonder why it was clouded until now. Because of that, I could easily understand exactly what Chiemi just said, despite how weird it was. I could also see that she was really desperate. I mean, clearly I'm going to hide. Now that's a hell of an order. Hauraki-san. Just so you know, pulling that off is pretty hard. When I do, I'd like a good reward and an explanation. Sure, I'll tell you everything. So please, survive the night. The words, the teary smile. None of it looked fake. See you then. You gotta hurry, right? Yep. Hauraki-san. What? I'll tell you tomorrow. Well, you're dead. Leaving me one hell of a homework assignment, Chiemi ran off. The plaza was covered in the mist by now. I could see it rising to take over the fields too. Anyway, a promise was a promise. 10 minutes later, I began to wonder what I was doing. Was I really supposed to spend the night here? This outhouse wasn't like a prefab you'd find in construction sites. It was just a shack built by hand. It merely happened to have a toilet unit installed. It was Japanese style, so I couldn't even sit down. All I could do was stand. Another problem. It was the type of toilet that periodically had to be pumped empty, so the smell was really bad. Sure, there was a cover on the toilet unit, but without any kind of air freshener anywhere, the smell of ammonia could only do so much. The only good thing about being here was that if I had to go to the toilet, well, mission complete. But what of it? Again, was I really supposed to spend the night here? The question quickly made me realize how stupid this was, and I began making assumptions to make this easier for myself. Was I being pranked? Or was everyone here just crazy? Hell, the mist had already filled the surroundings, and there was no way that this shabby outhouse protected me from it. The air here definitely felt misty and damp. The temperature here was low, so I could still bear it somewhat, but staying here all night would make me all wet. Again, I wasn't safe from the mist here. That considered, I'd probably be better off sleeping in the grass outside than staying here. The reasonable part of my mind urged me to stop playing along with these hicks. However, get in there, lock yourself in, stay inside the whole night, and don't make a sound. Sure, I'll tell you everything. So please survive the night. My sense of duty made it hard for me to break the promise I'd made to her. Actually, that wasn't quite true. I was more intrigued by the prospect of learning more about this place. Anyway, I took the time to compile what I found out today. This was the Yasumisu settlement, a special part of Fujiyoshi. It was situated right next to the Saranaga Rapids. The people living here were Chiemi Sarazawa, Yasunaga Arabe, his family, Kaori Arabe and Yoshisugu Arabe, Chikamoki Kamoshida, Haro Mikishima, her granddad Kanzo Makishima, Tei Yamawaki, Takumi Moro, Hionoseki Nosato. It seemed like he was from Kamafujiyoshi, the place on the other side of the mountain, but for some reason he lived here now. And finally, the old man who cried wolf. Those were the 11 people I'd met, and Chiemi said I had 2 more left. That could only mean that the 2 I'd met by that pine were the ones. A little girl, she was probably the child that strayed into Saranaga yesterday morning. And then there was the fantastical looking white-haired woman clad in strange clothing. She was probably the one I'd seen in the morning. The fact I'd seen her twice made it likely that she was indeed real, but with how mysterious this place was, I couldn't rule out the possibility that she was an illusion. According to Chiemi, the little girl was being looked after by someone in the village, so I could only assume that the white-haired woman was the one. If I counted the little girl, it would mean that Yasumisu had 13 inhabitants. Then there were the two journalists, Hisako Mamiya and Yudai Yashimoto. Add me to that and you had a total of 3 outsiders, but I put that aside for now. Anyway, time for an assessment. Yesterday morning, a little girl strayed into Saranaga. To make it worse, no one, not even herself, knew anything about her. She instantly got branded as an ill omen. The next day, Chiemi, who was in Saranaga for some reason, found me there. They recognized me as a proper lost person, but since I came through Saranaga, I was also branded as an ill omen. From what Nosuke Nasato she said, it was safe to assume that it used to be customary to throw people like us into Saranaga. And then there was the mist. The girl said something mysterious. Prepare for the feast when the evening mists arrive. I could only assume it was related to the same superstitions. After all, the mist came from Saranaga itself. It and the river seemed to be central to the local customs and ideas. With that in mind, how was it dangerous? What was going to happen now? Yomabito, as in people from Yomi, the ancient Japanese land of the dead. Dead people came back through Saranaga, and they were corrupted. Well, that gave room for some wild ideas. Was there some sort of pathogen in Saranaga that rose up with the mists? Did it turn people into zombies? Was I about to be part of a Japanese Resident Evil? Wait, that was already Japanese. What if you had a 10% chance to be infected by the mists, but a 100% chance to be infected by another person? That would explain why everyone had to isolate themselves like this. If I became a zombie, I probably wouldn't have the mind to unlock the door. So basically, by locking myself in here, I was quarantining myself. I hadn't put all that much thought into that, but that seemed like a good story. Sure, stuff like the boulders and the wolves didn't fit anywhere into my idea, but it was still interesting. Then again, I knew this was Hicksville and all, but would a superstition that science could explain so easily really survive the modern world? It seems so weird. Get in there, lock yourself in, stay inside the whole night and don't make a sound. Don't make a sound? To be frank, the reason why I spent so much time on these delusions was because I was scared of things I didn't know or understand. In the past, people used to attribute stuff like natural phenomena and diseases to gods, devils, yokai, and then do nothing but fear them. They were scared of these manifestations of monsters and whatnot. But on the other hand, it was better than not seeing or not knowing what they really were. The fact that you could die to things you couldn't see or understand made life really unreasonable and unfair. That was why it was very logical to give things names and mental images in order to recognize and memorize them. My fear of things I didn't know was the same, except I wasn't satisfied with just labels or hypotheses. I needed to reach the truth. That aside, what I was feeling right now wasn't a fear of the unknown. It was a realistic, practical fear of something that could endanger my life. Get in there, lock yourself in, stay inside the whole night and don't make a sound. I'm going to say it again. That meant that outside lurked something dangerous that could hear sounds. Perhaps it was the so-called dead that rose up from the river. Or maybe, assuming I was right with my Saranaga sickness theory, it was people who came out and beat the shit out of all the diseased who didn't follow the rules. The wolf is coming. Maybe the wolf was the title given to the killer. Suddenly I heard a scream in the distance. I'm going to have to go and have a look. Wow. That was some timing. Right as I was about to form a new hypothesis, the proof connecting it all suddenly came to me, and it was right outside. It had gotten really dark. There were no lights anywhere. The darkness was fear, unperceived, unknown, dangerous, scary. Leaving this place was dangerous, scary, 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 scary. Scary things were scary no matter how much logic you applied. But I couldn't discard my desire to get to know the fear and conquer it. Uh-oh. I opened the door and stopped in place. Night wasn't absolute darkness. No matter how dark or cloudy it was, the sky always gave some bit of light to us. However, I came to understand that it could be hard to see, even if there was light. Everything I saw was covered by a dense mist. Combined with the pale moonlight, it made the area seem milky. It made it hard to get around. Regardless, I couldn't ignore the scream. There was something beyond this veil. I kept moving forward. Unless my ears were deceiving me, the scream belonged to a woman and had come from the right. I couldn't let myself think that. Or rather, I didn't want to think that. The unknown was scary. Personally, I'd found that the principle made my life really easy. I had more than enough fear from those which were directly threatening my life. I really didn't want to have the fear of losing someone as well. Change your line of thought, Hauraki. Solving the mystery might save someone. Two birds with one stone. I began walking faster. Another scream. It was close. I realised I had to find a way to protect myself. I was unarmed, so I looked around for anything I could use as a weapon. I felt around to see if there was any branches or anything. Sadly, all I felt was grass. I went deeper and searched the ground itself. Soon I felt something hard. It was a rock. A moment of digging later, I took it in my hand. It was a bit smaller than my hand. I almost teared up at how useless it seemed, but it was better than nothing. I looked at the base of my feet and saw the grassy ground. I could easily move forward if I first checked the ground using my feet. And since I might have been close to the danger, I had to focus on what was ahead too. I'd recognise the danger and if possible get rid of it. I concentrated entirely on that and stepped forward. Boom. I couldn't hear the screams anymore. But I could hear other things. A wet sound. And the sound of something cracking. Uh-oh. It filled my mind with countless things I didn't want to imagine. Even so, I kept walking forward. Forward. Until I saw it. Oh my god. Oh. My hypotheses were nothing but delusions. The truth was truly something you had to see yourself. But why? Why was this so scary in spite of being true? It wasn't supposed to exist. It couldn't exist. After all, it was a wolf with a humanoid body. And there's no such thing as werewolves. Got 3 eyes. The next morning, in a paddy field in Fujiyushi, Yasumiso, 3rd block, someone discovered a thoroughly mangled corpse. The clothes nearby led the discoverers to conclude that it was the traveller, Hauraki, Ishi. He's still moving. Strangely enough, I could perceive this particular moment. Ayumabito, purge him! And so I... Goodbye, Hauraki-san. Was finished off by the girl. The feast begins! The last thing I heard. I'll hang the wool... Was that... Raging Loop. Oh my god. Raising Loop. Unveiled Arrival. Alright. Obtained Key 2. Werewolf and Resurrection. You can view it in the keys list. The route unlocked by the key is represented by the same number on the scenario chart. Alright. You can view it in the key list. Okay. Game over. Bad ending number 2. Watch hint corner. Yeah, I guess that's going to give me a tutorial, is it?
Hey there, you've done it now, Chief? Me? Don't mind me. I'm just an insignificant interface character. You can call me Sheep. There's a space between dreams that bastard Hauraki Fuzaishi can't see it. So feel free to kick back and relax.
Thanks, Sheep.
That said, you can't stay too long. I'm busy, so let's get down to business. As you'd expect of a hint corner, I'm here to give some helpful advice in your time of need. First, let's get all the game explanations out of the way. Well, I did say you've done it now just before. You were actually fated to arrive here from the start. I mean, you only had one choice, right? There should have been one below it, but it had a lock marked next to it, and you couldn't pick it. Oh, but just so you know, redoing Chiemi Surazawa's idiotic quiz is pointless. None of those choices will change a thing. I think it was explained to you back in the tutorial, but let's review Rage and Loop's structure just in case. As you just experienced for yourself, you'll definitely die in Rage and Loop. Why is that? Because many choices are locked, and you need keys to unlock them. These keys are spread throughout the story. You'll need to die to obtain most of them. That's why death is unavoidable. It seems Hauraki Fuzaishi can retain his memories for the next time, even if he dies. It's the system to replicate that. So here's my first piece of advice to you. If you get stuck, try dying. There are many keys lying within the story's many bad endings. You can also obtain keys from some surprising outcomes. Of course, it's possible to get all the keys and finish the game without seeing all the bad endings, but I'll leave that up to your playing style. Alright. As for bad ending number 2, also known as Toilet Man's End, you need a key number 2 to avoid it. Well, that won't be a problem for next time. Did you notice? You already obtained key 2 by dying here. You can check the details of key 2 from the keys list in the menu, so you can check it out there. But basically, Hauraki Fuzashi now knows from experience he'll die if he goes out at night. That's what makes a new choice possible. You'll find more bad endings that you're forced to play through first in the future, so keep that in mind. Other times you can keep going onwards for a long time without finding a key. Whenever you get a key, it's displayed with large red letters, so remember that part too. Hauraki Fuzaishi will be sent back to the starting point after this, in other words, to the scene at the start of the game, with him on his back. You could reread everything from the start if you'd like, but you're going to die dozens of times from now on, so it'd be a pain to reread each time. So once you get a grip of the situation, use the scenario chart to jump ahead. You can jump to any scene you've read before, whenever and wherever you want. It's really handy. For example, you could open the menu, press the chart button and go to Q, follow the scream, in dense mist, even right now. Use the scenario chart to jump around. That's the key to completing Rage and Loop. Incidentally, this marks the end of 2 Dense Mist. The so-called prologue is over. If you pick the choice that was unlocked this time, the game's first main route, 3 Yoma, will begin. Good luck. If you pick the choice that was unlocked this time, the game's first main route. Okay. Next time you come across a locked choice, look to the right side. You should see the number of the key you need to open it, to unlock it. The number appears at the scenario chart. 2. It makes it clear what's locked and what key numbers you need. Handy system, huh? By the way, here's a little tip. You won't be getting key 1 for a long time. You didn't miss anything, so relax and just keep playing into your art's content. Yeah, that took a while, and I'm busy. Well, that's enough for this time. Die another arty death next time. Alright. Oh, that's kind of creepy. Do better next time. 1 sheep, 2 sheep. Alright, so we're right at the beginning again. So should we just skip that choice and see what happens if I pick the other option? So if I go to... Okay, so it looks like I'm not gonna... So I need key 4 to do that. So I need key 2, so let's go here.
Oh, hang on. So, detailed chart. Next. Hang on. Encounter with wolf. Follow the screen. I see. Okay. So 3, 8, 19, and 20 we don't have, so here. Suddenly I heard a scream in the distance. Keep still. What was that? It sounded like someone's life was in danger. It meant something dangerous was nearby. Wait. I couldn't be rash. The world didn't have many things that logic couldn't explain, like the existence of murderers. But until I saw the source of the scream myself, it was nothing but a source of fear. Get in there, lock yourself in, stay inside the whole night and don't make a sound. I reached to open the door, but something stayed my hand. It was my promise to Chiemi. That scream just now was very real. It wasn't normal. I had to assume the situation was dangerous, and maybe I could help if I went out. But that meant endangering myself. I was no saint, and I had no plans to rectify that. If there was something that could get me to walk out, it would be curiosity. My curiosity had won over many dangers thus far, but right now it was weaker than my fear and risk of death. Why? Because I already knew. Shit, what the hell were these memories? It wasn't a premonition, a dream, or anything else. That vague. My brain recognized it as something I'd experienced. But how? After all, I was still alive, and the time from those memories had yet to come. Was I a precog or something? My god, I swore I'd never experienced anything like this before coming here. And why did the memory come back to me at this particular moment? Regardless, that overwhelming fear, and the pain and death that followed, were exactly what waited for me. If I opened the door, I couldn't feel more certain of that. The thoughts rendered me unable to move. Immobile. I stood still, completely certain that I'd lost my chance to leave. I wasn't childish enough to sneer at selfish decisions, but this still didn't feel good. Not to mention I was upset at myself for not being able to act like me and just run out simply because I was curious. I didn't even feel saved. Until that moment. Suddenly the door began to shake. This place had a handle on the outside and someone was pulling on it hard. It was a lock, sure. There was only so much it could take before it broke. I prepared to pull on it from the inside, but... Get in there, lock yourself in, stay inside the whole night and don't make a sound. What would happen if I did? Whatever was outside would instantly know I was there. Even if I protected the door, the thing had lots of other ways of hurting me. But what if I didn't know? What if it didn't know about me and was just weirded out by this randomly locked toilet? What if I didn't show a hint of fear to what it was doing? Would it just leave? I chose to just wait and see. Once again, someone pulled the door, shaking the structure as a whole. I gulped down a scream and focused on the lock. If it broke, it'd be over for me. Over, as in, I'd be dead. That was what that memory told me. I was powerless back then, and even more so now. Assuming I would try to fight back, what would work? I'd heard that teeth were the hardest part of the human body, so maybe I could bite. Yeah, I'd tear whatever it was apart with my teeth. I'd bite it to death. I gathered my wits in killing intent, grinding my teeth. I glared at the door. How long had it been? The sound suddenly stopped. For all I knew, it might have been a ploy to make me drop my guard. I'd slowly count to 500. If nothing happened in that time, I'd assume it went away. There were no screams or attacks after that. But the silence around me improved my perception, and I heard strange noises every now and then. Breathing, growling, claws on the ground. Basically, I felt a beastly presence. Just a reminder in case you didn't know what it was talking about. So that thing actually existed here. Was it what the mists brought here from Saranaga? The wolf is coming. Did they all know about this? Shit, I couldn't learn anything in a place like this, and not knowing things scared me. Trusting my pre-science or deja vu or whatever it was. Is that how you say that word? Prescience, as in conscience. I don't know. I chose to just stay quiet and wait. I'd find out everything tomorrow. I just had to make it through the night and then talk to Chiemi. And if it was something I couldn't solve, I'd just run away. Thankfully, my bike repairs were going well, but I'd be leaving even if it didn't work. I'd walk to Kamifuji Yoshi if I had to. Unlike Kazumisu, they might have had reliable means of transport. For now, I just had to stay awake and make it through the night. Alright, well, that seems like another episode of Raging Loop. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Borderline Games, and I will see you next time when we'll be doing some more of Raging Loop. Have a good evening. Bye-bye.